Alright guys, Bad Boy Jenvey here, aka Satan. As always, going to tell you every video, put your money in Wisdomtree, CRUD. Links your money to the price of crude oil. It's really important. Now oil's actually dropped back a little bit. Here we are on CRUD.L. See that? CRUD.L. That is Wisdomtree CRUD basically. They put the .L on to say lizard people or lizard or something. And you put your little finger there. It's just had a spike down. You see, it's just gone downwards. But it is on some kind of growth line up. We don't know exactly. Unless you're King Charles and you run like the whole, world. This is the lizard king of the world. You don't know exactly what it's going to do. That's why you've got to buy Wisdomtree CRUD and just hold. I wouldn't try and time the market. It's impossible to do. You say, well, the king might drop the prices. Yeah, but you've got to remember, oil's really cheap at the minute anyway. Well, I don't know what it is, $80 a barrel, probably less. 70 some bucks a barrel, I don't even know. But it's cheap, right? And there's only so much oil in the ground. He hasn't wanted to work with me. I've done free energy on this channel. I've talked about it. Perpetual turbine and ring of power. Ring of power, very simple. It's just wiring in a circuit, two step-up transformers together, two or more. More electric comes out and goes in. It's really straightforward. Humanity, you like to think you're smart, but you're really not. You're actually not that intelligent compared to other species out in the universe. You're good at fighting. Always remember that bit. You're good at fighting, but you haven't got much in the way of brains. Compared to the Greys, for example, you're very stupid. They're smart, you're not. And a lot of your tech, a lot of your fancy technology, like smartphones, computers, all of that stuff, microchips that go into the computers, all of that stuff, all that tech. You ain't designed it. It's the Greys that have. They're the ones that have give you some of their technology to sort of lift you up a bit from being savages. You're just not that clever. You're a bit clever, but not you're smarter than a dog, for example, but not by as much as you think. It's just how it is. Mankind has been built for fighting. Problem is, you've got a society now which doesn't sort of celebrate fighting enough. You've got a very soft society, mostly because the Greys were trying to, have a situation eventually where they could literally walk among you. They can't, they're scared, they're shit scared, the Greys are coming to the earth and putting boots on the ground. Because then you're there, 6 foot tall, and man's very, compared to them, very strong, much stronger than them. They're small, and you might, really hurt them because you're not happy about being ruled over by some 4 foot little alien. So they've always been scared of spending too much time walking among you. Unfortunately, like I say, I've said it before, your lizard king, like King Charles and before him, and then the Roman emperors before that, have been very intimidated by the Greys' technology. Their technology, spaceships and all of that, has always looked really intimidating to them. They're not intimidating physically, but they're intimidating, I suppose, in terms of their technology. Like they gave you the atom bomb. That was to scare you. To sort of say, they ordered your lizard king at the time, whoever it was, to have this situation where nuclear weapons are revealed to the lizard people, and to drop bombs. Well, it's to show you a test. What we do a test here. We go nuclear bomb, bang, Oppenheimer, and all of that. and then they drop them in Japan to show the devastation they can cause, to intimidate you, to make you think, well, at any time, these greys could drop nuclear bombs on us. That was to scare you, to keep you scared and under their control. Recently at the D-Day 80th anniversary celebration, King Charles and William both gave speeches. They actually give really good speeches. They're quite well done, to be fair. And you can see it in William now, that his cheeks are beginning to look a bit, I wouldn't say sallow yet. He's not looking like really like, but he's beginning to lose weight in the face. Because God in heaven ain't happy with them. They haven't wanted, they're pissed off at me because, well, they're pissed off at God. I don't know why they're pissed off at me. I'm just the devil, but they're pissed off at God. They're going to hell. Because they haven't run the planet that well. They haven't run society that well. And they're not working with me as a kind of, you know, fuck you to me and to God in heaven. So it's frustrating. Like I keep saying, we're hopeful Harry's going to work with me, Prince Harry, who, you know, if William and King Charles die in the fairly near future, he will ascend to the throne before George, who's William's eldest son, because he's a bit too young for the job. If it happens within a fairly short period of time, we hope for Harry will work with me. We're going to talk about all these wars that you've been having, big wars, you know, like World War II and things like that. A lot of that has been in the reason those wars have happened has been because your Lizard King has been servile to the Greys. Servile to them, you know, ordered you to, you know, bomb a couple of cities in fucking Japan, killing a lot of innocent people. They've had you do all kinds of stupid stuff, the Greys. But the Greys were in a position where there wasn't much else they could do because you're so fucking big and strong compared to them. And they want to use you as a weapon. It's a big scary universe out there, you know. It's a scary galaxy. And obviously there's lots of galaxies. And it's a scary place, this universe. There's a lot of wealth in the universe in terms of natural resources, but there's a lot of danger too. But the Greys working for mankind, you know, where the Greys have got the brains and mankind's got the brawn, working together, that makes a really good team to go out to the stars and kick some ass. You've got to get other planets. It's been held up at the minute. It's frustrating. But anyway, the D-Day anniversary, the actual operational name for the D-Day landings was Overlord, because you've been ruled by alien overlords. The reptilians aren't aliens, remember that. Please remember that, Monkey Man. Monkey Man that I'm telling to get your money into Wisdomtree CRUD. That's important. Please remember, the reptilians are just, they'll try and blag you they're aliens, try and scare you a little bit. They're not. You know, Britney Spears is not an alien. They evolved alongside of you. They got this camouflage, which is very good. But you can see, you know, whatever flaws in it occasionally, especially when they're under stress. And yeah, well, it's not such a secret anymore, is it? I mean, if you've been watching my channel, and I've showed you again and again evidence that these reptilians are real, and they walk among you, they live among you, they look basically like almost identical to you. They've evolved alongside you, but they're the ones who run the world. It's not Monkey Man. So, yeah, it's not a secret anymore. Their secret's out. But it's got silly with the king now, I think, King Charles, and how he's not working with me. And just kind of, he's got control of the media, so he can just have a situation where the media doesn't have any dealing with me. He's got a situation where all the reptilians are not allowed to, you know, kind of just talk openly with me, which is stupid when, you know, I'm Satan and I've been sent here by the big man, God, creator of reality, to kind of just sort you out as a species, you know. Well, reptilian and monkey man, sort you both out and help you progress, because you've hit a wall now. Planet's overpopulated. You're doing some stupid things to it. We're going to talk about how you can begin to U-turn some of the things you've done. We're going to talk about that in a bit more detail. I'm going to talk about how we can restore ocean health, or at least restore a good, you know, a good deal of its health. Talk about that later. But I suppose the thing to do now, reptile footage. We're going to look at Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint. We're sticking with the Harry Potter theme from last week. We're gonna look at those pair now. Reptilian, Daniel Radcliffe. Here's his channel. Here's the channel, sorry, that this video's on. Katie Couric. The video is Daniel Radcliffe's steamy nude scene. He's just having an interview. We're at 0.7 seconds in. It's not a particularly bad reptile shapeshift, but you can see here that ridge that goes up the centre of their head. You see it, and there is some little ridge there. I think there's one on the other side, but that channel, that's often a giveaway. You get these weird ridges, and then there is this central channel often that you see. That's the first one. Just pause. We just got it on pause there for that one. We're going to go to the next one, which is at 33. That was at 0.7, where I think we see his eye. What you want to look at is that left eye. I'm at 33, 0.33. The left eye. You can just see it's, with the reptilians, you often get either a cross eye, they either have a cross like that, or they sometimes have a slit. The kind of eyes are different depending on, you know, which reptilian it is. But you can just see his eye, his pupils like a cross. You can see it. If it goes back, that's more of a circle. You see it was a cross though at 3.3. Like I say, with the reptilians, either a cross eye or a slit. You saw with mine I had a 6. Yeah, that's because I'm Satan though, so I'm a bit different. I'm unique. Right, we'll look at some more for Radcliffe. Why not? You know, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's a good actor. I think he was great in Harry Potter. So, you know, you got to remember that it's not like they're all your enemy, Monkey Man. You got to remember this about reptilians. They're not all your enemy. Of course they're not. Another one of Radcliffe. This one is when he's much younger. The video is Daniel Radcliffe at awards, and that's the channel Marita 121. He's just received an award here. He's only a young guy. He's got all these older people around him, and he's feeling the nerves. I think he's feeling the pressure of being at this award show. We're at 0.42 seconds in, and we're going to watch the side of his face and then the front of his face. So we'll play it. We're watching here. We begin to see shapeshift malfunction, I believe. Just watch that side of his face. See all this here. All like bulging out. See all this. Now we're going to see another shapeshift malfunction in front of his face. Very brief. Did you see it? It's only we're at 0.4 foot. It's very brief. Try and there. You see that? There it is. I caught it perfectly then. Yeah. Why is that happening? He's nervous. He's only a young kid. I think it's obviously some acting awards show thing, and he's just feeling the nerves. Because he's got to give a speech, young kid. Now that previous shapeshift of Radcliffe was so bad. I think that's the reason the quality of the footage has been lowered. Often, if they have a really bad shapeshift that's really obvious on camera, any footage that's released is reduced in like definition, in its pixel count, so you can't as easily see it, and so that you think, oh, it must be the camera's messed up. Nah, it's because they've had a really bad shapeshift, and the reptilians are trying to, hide. They're always hiding behind their shapeshift. They're trying to hide it. So, but on this one of Daniel Radcliffe, it's high definition, that's what you really want if you can get it. Jungle official trailer #1, 2017. Daniel Radcliffe action movie HD. Zero media. We're gonna go to 2.1. Is it 0.21 in the clip? We're just going to look at the side of his face. You see a massive kind of crater in his face in a minute. Play it. See all these weird shapes. See all this. Keep playing it. See that? It's really quite bizarre looking. See it, and then we zoom out. It's still there though. It's actually still there. I think they've been a bit lazy with trying to hide this. Normally you'd expect this to be edited out. You'd have to do another take or something. But it's goes to the next dude. Next one, 5.9 in the same video. I can't even remember this one. What happens here? Oh, you kind of see it there, don't you? Watch his side of his face here. See that? See it? It's really quite obvious. There's that line there, but that on his forehead. Really quite severe actually. Reptile shapeshift malfunction. He's just trying to give a good performance, and he's forgetting to conceal with the shapeshifting. We've got another one, I think. I've got another one. At 141. We're at 141. Is there one on here? I can't. Do we see one there? Oh, it's here, I think. It's when he's 140. I think this side of his head there is a little hole into his head. 139. Just looking at the side of his head there. and here. See that? So it turns off in a minute. There you go. So yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, Reptilian Shapeshifter. We're going to look at Rupert Grint now, his co-star in the Harry Potter franchise. First Reptilian Shapeshifter of Rupert Grint is he's on a chat show here, so he's under the pressure. Rupert Grint on his daughter's Target obsession, his ice cream truck, and Apple, what does that say, TV servant thing. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is the channel. The first shapeshift we're going to look at, we're at 353 in the video. We've just paused it. We don't actually need the slow-mo. You see the cross in his eye? And you can see it in the other one too. His eyes momentarily go lizard. So it's quite interesting with the lizards. Sometimes you've got a slit, sometimes they've got a cross like that, and sometimes, in the case of Rupert Grint, it was more of a cross like that way. So I think it just depends on the reptilian. So yeah, that's the first one of Rupert Grint. We'll go to another video now and we'll see some more of him shapeshifting. So next reptilian shapeshift malfunction of Rupert Grint is when he was on the Jimmy Fallon show another time. I think it was another time. The video is Rupert Grint's daughter has her own Harry Potter wand and loves saying the F word. The Tonight Show channel is The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. I forgot to mention, you need the slow-mo. So settings, you go there, click that, playback speed, you've got normal speed, you want the slow-mo 0.25. Now, what you want to look, we want to look here, we're going to see some movement in his nose. At the bridge of his nose, top of his nose here. We're at 1.35 in the video. It's quite noticeable. Watching this area here, but the whole thing looks weird as it makes a big bridge. Playing it again. And then it's eased off. Hopefully we caught it. Hopefully. So yeah, that's your reptilian shapeshifts for this week. Yep. Rupert Grint and Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, are reptilian shapeshifters. So just how it is. Rupert Grint played Ron Weasley, and they did a good job. I actually in the future want to play Tom Riddle, Voldemort. Because I think those movies could do with an adult version. Something I hopefully will get to do in the future. Right, last week we talked about how the Greys have been ordering your Lizard King, King Charles, to de-salt the oceans, to take the salts, the sea salt out the oceans, and you've been putting them on crisps and I don't know, all sorts of stuff. Right, and I've said you don't want to do that. It's very important because when you take the salt out the oceans, all the life in the ocean is evolved to live in sea water, salt water. So you take the salt out, you start causing a lot of problems in those oceans ecosystems, and those ecosystems provide a lot of food. When the oceans are, you know, really healthy, they provide a lot of food. Another thing you shouldn't do is litter. God in heaven hates litter bugs, people that do littering, because that's why microplastics are getting into your environment. Microplastics in the ocean and microplastics on land, because of litter bugs. People just throw plastics on the floor. Those plastics break down into microplastics, and those microplastics find their way back into the food chain. That's down to individuals. They need to not litter. And you say, well, why are the Greys wanting to do this to you? Because they're wanting to dominate you all the time. They're wanting to push you into a situation where your planet is on the verge of dying. Right, your ecosystem's on the verge of collapse. Okay, so that they can then sort of kind of strong arm you into being their slaves in the stars, the soldiers. And remember, they need you big time because they're so crap at fighting. Greys useless at being foot soldiers. But then they're really smart. You're not smart. You're stupid. So now you say, well, how do we? You might ask, well, how do we sort this situation? This is terrible. You know, things like coral bleaching, the Great Barrier Reef. You know, it's having all these problems with coral bleaching. How do we sort it out? By the way, the reptilians will lie to you and say, no, it's because of warming oceans. It's got nothing to do with that. The oceans are warming up that, quickly. How do we sort this problem anyway? You need to literally put salt back into the ocean. But first, you have to find out what the salt level of the ocean was before you started removing large amounts of salt. Now, the way you do that is with ice cores. Your polar ice caps are actually melting because of global warming of air temperatures. I'm going to talk about how we sort that in a minute. But basically, you've got to get these ice cores. You can get ice that's been frozen at the polar ice caps from a long, long time ago, from thousands of years ago. You find out what the salt level was. And then what you've got to try and do is carefully dig up a salt flat and sprinkle that salt back into the ocean using either planes, helicopters or anti-gravity powered by free energy. That's what they do to gradually build them salt levels back up in the oceans. That'll make your oceans healthier, more full of life. Overfishing's an issue as well. You've got to be careful not to overfish. You're gradually killing your oceans, and the big warning sign is that Great Barrier Reef in Australia that's just getting really badly bleached now. This is how you U-turn it. You've got to find out what the salt levels were from them ice cores and sprinkle the salt back in. Now, something else you need to do is you need to make your farming more sustainable. At the moment, it's not really your fault because you haven't had access to these three big technologies, which are free energy, anti-gravity, and another one, teleportation. That's how the Greys get around space. They just teleport. But you can teleport on your planet as well. So say I want to teleport from London to New York. Well, if a wormhole is set up between those two places, London and New York, I can teleport there. I just get there, boom, nearly instantly. So, well, it would be instantly. You just got to walk through the wormhole. And you're there. So what's going to need to happen is gradually, over a very long period of time, your farmland is going to need to be put in deserts. I've talked about it before, fields of gold in the deserts. Your deserts at the minute are very unproductive land. They're quite vast. Your deserts are vast, but they're not doing anything for humanity. You're not utilising them. But you need free energy really to do it properly. And what you're going to do is you're going to pump sewage to them deserts, mix the sewage in with the sand, And you're also going to take seawater there, heat it up using free energy, turn it into steam, condense it, then you get fresh water, and you're going to grow crops there because you have a lot of sun in the desert. The deserts overnight are very cold, but if you work from the edge of the desert inwards, you're hopefully going to turn the deserts of North Africa and wherever else there's deserts into places that are going to produce a lot of food, a lot of crops, and also places for cattle to graze. Now, a lot of the reptilians who watch my phone, because my phone is very closely watched by a lot of people who are reptilians, a lot of the farmers thought I wanted a situation where they were going to lose their jobs, and their jobs were going to be outsourced to Africa, people in Africa. It's not going to be the case, because I don't want to lose the skills of those people who are, you know, really good farmers in the UK. So you're going to use teleportation. So if you're a farmer, UK farmer, you're actually going to have a teleporter, believe it or not. This is in the future, but this is going to happen because this technology, the Greys have this technology. It's what they do on their home planet. You can actually teleport from your house, from your farmhouse in the UK, to your fields in Africa. The North African desert, huge place, but it's doing nothing for humanity. It's just there. It's a big pile of sand. You mix sewage, your shit that comes out your arse, in with the sand, and water it. Put some seeds in it. With all that sun, you're gonna be able to grow some good crops. Something important you need to do as you take the seawater out of the ocean and you boil it to create fresh water, you need to put that salt back. You'll have sea salt left over, and obviously you'll need to put the salt back. But we first need to get the salt levels back up to a decent level. They've gone too low. So I'm here to try and sort your planet out. Now, something else that UK farmer do, he'll teleport to his fields in Africa where he's got his cattle and his crops. But what will happen over a long period of time is his fields in the UK, they'll be turned back to woodland. And you might say, well, why can't he just have fields in Africa and fields in the UK, you know, growing food? Well, because of carbon emissions. His cattle in Africa will produce a lot of carbon emissions, carbon dioxide as they breathe, and methane out the backside of the cow, or whatever cattle it is. So they produce a lot of carbon emissions. But his trees in his fields in the UK that he's growing, which he can responsibly harvest for timber, his trees that he's using in the UK, growing in the UK, they'll absorb carbon as they grow. You've put a lot of carbon emissions into the atmosphere using fossil fuels for energy. You're supposed to just use free energy, which is totally clean. And that's the way you're going to do farming. So I don't want to lose these UK farmers' jobs. They're just going to use teleportation. You've got to use anti-gravity, free energy, and teleportation to the absolute maximum. You know, these technologies are very important technologies from God in heaven, and you've got to use them to the max to sort your environment out. You want to try and turn them deserts into productive farmland, but you've always got to remember, you take seawater, turn it to fresh water to irrigate the crops. You've got to put that salt back, sprinkle it back of the ocean. You have free energy and anti-gravity to do that. Maybe can even be automated somehow, I don't know. But and when that farmer, that UK farmer, because the UK used to be covered in woodland, when he's growing all these trees on his fields, he's got his fields in Africa with all his crops and cattle, he's growing all these trees, that's going to U-turn this global warming situation. reduce the carbon in the atmosphere, because the tree is made from carbon, and they produce oxygen as well, trees. So it's really important that you're going to do this. So, but I think, like I say, I think these UK farmers, these reptilian UK farmers, thought I was going to try and destroy their jobs. No, not at all. Actually, totally the opposite. Trying to keep your jobs, keep your skills. You just got to teleport. A good way of thinking of it is, if you've ever seen the film or read the book, The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe, the children walk through a cupboard that teleports them to Narnia. It was written by a guy called C.S. Lewis, and he was a religious man. Teleportation is a technology. Believe it or not, it's already actually been done by humanity on a small, very small scale in a lab in Barcelona. They did teleportation in a lab in Barcelona. I'll find the article. Creating these magnetic wormholes. So it's just a thing that you're going to do. And like I say, a good way of thinking of Narnia, the little wardrobe they've got, the magic wardrobe that allows the children to teleport to Narnia. They walk through the back of it. The farmer's just going to have something the same at his home. All his staff, his UK staff, will meet up in the morning and they'll just teleport over. So he'll have a steel door on it, you know, for security, to stop people going in and teleporting across that he doesn't want. Probably state issued, I would have thought. Issued by the state, because farming is so important. It's such an important food production. Is a massively important industry. And that's something God in heaven realises, and me, the devil, working for him, I realise it too. So, but like I say, all this would take a long time to happen. You've got to build the infrastructure in Africa. You've got to have pipelines of sewage running there to mix into the sand. You've got to have pipelines of seawater. You've got to have boilers, condensers. You have the situation where you put the salt back into the oceans. So it's going to be one step at a time. But it's really something humanity needs to get on with. We've got this British royal family that's standing in the way of it. But it is something you need to get on with. Once hopefully Harry comes to power, you need to work hard to try and make it happen. You'll create a lot of jobs in places like North Africa as well for local people, which would be good. But yeah, that's how I intend to have it. That's how it will work. The wormhole you're going to use, I'm hoping there's not going to be any moving parts. The free energy in it, ring of power that powers it. There's no moving parts in ring of power. It's brilliant. It's just step up transformers wired together. Creates more volts than what goes in. There you go, free energy. Pretty straightforward. And with the teleporter, I call it AC intergalac. Because you're going to eventually use that same technology to do intergalactic travel, but that's a long way away from doing that. Where you just teleport to another galaxy. But AC intergalac, I'm hoping that's not going to have any moving parts on it when it's on the surface of the Earth, because what's going to power it is the same thing that powers the whirlpool in your sink. You know, when you pull the plug, you've got some water in your sink, you pull the plug and it whirls down. You're on a motor right now. You're on a perpetual turbine, a perpetual motor. The Earth is a spinning ball that's circling the sun and spinning on its axis. That, in effect, is an electric motor that's spinning a turbine and creating this electromagnetic field around the Earth, the magnetosphere, that allows life on Earth to be possible. I'm not going to get too technical on the science with you because people sort of, you know, lose interest. But yeah, I've got a lot of ideas on how to sort out the environment. I am a great scientist. Like I say, King Charles doesn't want to work with me. He's trying to suppress my channel. William, his son, Prince William, he doesn't want to work with me. They're cheesed off, they're going to hell. They don't really care. They just want to run things until they're dead. And that's hence why they're getting ill. They're getting ill now. Because they're just one family. The way God views humanity, both monkey and reptile, is a lot more important than one family, one royal family. And it will hopefully that's reassured the UK farmers. And like I say, this will take a long time to happen and transition to. So if you're a young farmer right now in your 20s or something, are you going to see it in your lifetime? Maybe at the very end of your lifetime, you'll begin to see it happening. These things. I'm not sure how fast. It depends how fast humanity wants to turn around their planet in terms of its health. And also the other thing, the great thing about woodland, turning fields in the UK back to woodland. The other great thing about it is it provides life for animals as well. So there's that benefit too. It makes a healthier ecosystem, doesn't it, for animals, rather than just these crops. So yeah, hopefully that all makes sense to you, and you understand what I'm trying to do. Next thing we need to talk about, war. When you go to alien Earths, you're going to have to fight for them. So you are going to have to go to war with the aliens on alien Earths to get those planets under control. But something you've been doing for a long time, which is really stupid, is having wars against each other. Now you've got wars at the minute going on in Ukraine, and you've got issues in the Middle East. All these wars are just stupid. You're sort of having them on the orders. Well, you are having them on the orders of your Lizard King, King Charles, to explain away why oil prices are going to keep going up, causing this inflation. You've had wars in the past that lots of stupid reasons. I mean, the Greys have ordered your Lizard King to have these wars. One to assert dominance over you, to also reduce your fighting men, to kill off a lot of your fighting men, a lot of your soldiers, because the Greys are so scared of you. You've got to remember, the Greys are scared of you because you're a lot bigger and stronger than them. You know, so what? They got a bigger brain. In a punch up, they're getting battered. So they've tried to, over time, weaken you as a species, reduce your number of fighting men. With, you know, wars like World War One, where you just run at machine gun fire and just get killed. They've shown you things like the nuclear weapon, nuclear bombs, the atom bomb. They're the ones who've done the science behind that. They're the ones behind just science with computers and stuff and smartphones. They showed you things like nuclear weapons, again, to scare you, to intimidate you. But they desperately need humanity if they want to be successful in the stars. But then you need their brains. You need their, you know, they're smart with science. So you need them as well. They've had you doing a lot of stupid wars. And sometimes these wars you've had, it's in the past, is to decide who is the Lizard King of the world. For example, the Napoleonic Wars. Things like that, to decide who runs the world. You know, the British Navy, British Royal Navy fighting the Spanish Armada, things like that. It's like your royal families fighting against each other. So imagine you got the Spanish Navy will say, right, well, we're going to fight your navy. The king of Spain would say, right, well, our navy is going to fight your navy, the British Royal Navy, and we're going to find out who's got the best navy and who deserves to be the Lizard King and conquer the world. See what I'm saying? I know Spain had big parts of South America, but it was always after the Spanish Armada's been sunk. You know, it's always the real king is the British Lizard King. He became the king after Rome lost its power, went all a bit limp-wristed and soft under the popes. You know, they didn't have the Roman emperor. It wasn't all about being hard fighters anymore. The Catholic Church, you know, went a bit soft under Christianity. Well, Rome went soft under Christianity. Rome was built on violence. It was built on being hard, scary men. Anyway, the British took over. In the 1500s, Henry VIII just went, fuck off to the popes. I'm the boss. I'm having my own church. I'm the Lizard King. And they've stayed in power ever since. That's Henry VIII who did that. But what they've done, they've had these wars to find out, you know, if they still deserve to be king. And they always have. But a much better way of deciding who should be king is who's the hardest bastard at fighting. That's how it's supposed to do. Because when you have these wars, like the Napoleonic Wars, for example, lots of good men die on both sides. So you have good men, good British soldiers die, and good French soldiers die. Fighting men on both sides die for no reason other than to decide who the best army is, or navy, who's the best, and who should then be the top Lizard King. And that's totally stupid way of doing it, because what happens is both your armies, both the French army and the British army, are depleted in terms of strength. They lose numbers of fighting men, and their strength is weakened, of both armies. Whereas this is how it should be. This is how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to have these royal families, and whoever's the hardest bastard at fighting in them, you know, say like you've got like a British king, and then say you've got another royal family, and he says, well, I want to be boss, and I offer you out to a pawn shop because I reckon I'm a harder man than you at fighting. That's how it's supposed to be decided. So then all that happens, the British king and whoever the other royal is have a pawn shop to find out who the best man is, who the best at fighting is, and that's who the boss is. That's how it's supposed to work. And then you don't have all this death in and it wouldn't be a fight to the death. It'd just be a boxing match. Queensberry rules. Just be a boxing match. That's all it'd be. I mean, it could be something like mixed martial arts instead, but it'd probably just be boxing. To find out who the hardest bastard is in the royal families, and that's who the Lizard King's supposed to be. Then loads of people in your armies don't have to die. Do you understand? You know, those both, you know, you don't want your armies getting weakened. You want strong armies filled with lots of good fighting men to go take the aliens on other Earths, rather than depleting their numbers, fighting each other. A lot of these stupid wars you've had in the past, A lot of it, well, some of it's been on the orders of the Greys. Some of it's like at the minute, to explain away rising oil prices. Some of it's the royals trying to find out who's the top dog, who's the boss, who's got the best army and navy. When it all should have really, stuff like that. I mean, you should have just said, fuck you to the Greys, we're not taking your orders. We want your technology though, we want to work with you because you're really smart, so we can use you, right? Use you and work as a team together because you're really clever and you've got some great tech. So that's what you should have said to the Greys. I mean, you shouldn't, this oil thing, these increasing oil price, shouldn't be doing that at the minute. You should just be using free energy, obviously. Free energy, no carbon emissions, and free energy is not going to run out. Oil's going to run out. If you keep burning oil, it just runs out eventually. It takes millions of years to form. Use free energy on that one. And any dispute on who the top boy is in the royal families, who the Lizard King should just be solved with a punch up in a boxing ring with a referee and boxing rules. Whoever's the hardest bastard is the one who runs the show. Simple as that. That's how it should be all done. Now it's my plan. I've talked about it before. I mentioned it briefly. Is to marry Ariana Rockefeller. She's in the American royal family. To marry Ariana Rockefeller, to get into these royal families, and then that's what I'm going to plan to do. Offer them all out for a punch up. To say I'm the top dog. We don't need to have wars with armies and navies. Weakening both our armies and navies. And anyway, if I'm in the American royal family, anyway, the American army and navy are very powerful. So I wouldn't want to have a war. I want to end wars. I want to end wars between humanity. I want to end them. Because they're stupid. But you have got to fight wars against aliens, not the Greys, against other aliens on other Earths. To get those, that's just part of the game. That's how you have to do it. Because they ain't going to want you on their Earths. So, but one thing I would say, when you kill them, you can eat them. That's what you're going to be doing. You'll kill them, cook them, and eat them. But they'll be trying to do the same to you. So you just got to get new Earths now. But that's how things in these royal families needs to be sold. In a boxing ring. Simple as that. And obviously a guy can concede. A guy can say, well, I'm not going to fight you. If I get because I'm pretty good at boxing. And if I get into the American royal family by marrying Ariana Rockefeller, I might offer out for a pawn shop all these other royals, and who will hopefully at the time be Harry. Harry actually has done some boxing, Prince Harry. If he becomes king and I offer him out for a punch up, he's always got the option to concede and say, well, I know I'm going to lose that. I'm not going to fight you in a punch up in a boxing ring. So I then need to become boss, surely, because I'm the hardest man. That's how it works in nature. All animals decide who the boss is by fighting each other. You'll have lions fight each other, bears fight each other, all sorts of animals, usually over to decide who gets to mate with the shag the ladies, basically, the lady lions or lady bears. That's usually how it is with animals, but that's how it's done in nature. I mean, these silly wars, utterly stupid. No one really wins because, even say the British Army, the British beat Napoleon, but they've lost loads of their men in the process. So that they have won, but they haven't really won because their army's weakened. Stupid, totally stupid. So So as the Antichrist, as Satan on earth, I'm the guy who's supposed to come here and sort out this situation of ending all these wars. And obviously I'm working for God in heaven. I'm here to do that. So that's my plan. All these rules, any disputes, sorted out like men. Queensberry rules, boxing. And that also decides who the boss is as well. So I think that's a pretty good idea. Hopefully you like it too. Humanity's had a lot of wars and deaths that have been totally unnecessary. So anyway, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.